Welcome to Deep Dive by the Quiet Footnote. Today we're taking a fascinating journey into a book that promises to rewire how you think about basically everything. The Book of Why by Judea and Dana Mackenzie.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack the core insights of this, well, groundbreaking work.
It really is.
And understand its relevance, its profound relevance in our data-saturated world. And of course, extract some key takeaways that'll help you become a more informed, maybe more critical thinker.
Right.
This book, it's not some dry technical manual, is it? It feels more like a philosophical torch.
Yeah, exactly. It challenges us to look beyond just what happens.
And get to the why.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Why? And what's truly revolutionary here, I think, is that Pearl, who's just this giant in computer science and stats,
Right.
he, along with Mackenzie's knack for clear storytelling, they literally taught machines how to ask why.
That sounds huge.
It is. They argue that for centuries, scientists, policymakers, even just us, everyday people,
Yeah.
we've been thinking about cause and effect all wrong.
Tripping over our own feet.
Kind of like tripping over the same scientific shoelaces because we're so obsessed with correlation, not causation.
Okay.
So this book tackles what they call causation blindness, that inability to move beyond just seeing patterns.
To understanding what's really driving things.
Exactly. What are the driving forces? The central problem they're trying to solve is how we cut through all the noise, all this data we have,
There's so much data.
to genuinely understand the true causes.
Okay, so if we've been causally blind, what does that actually look like in the real world? How has traditional statistics, even with all its power, sort of left us in this fog?
Well, it's a fundamental gap. Think about it like this. You see smoke, you see fire. Traditional stats is great at noting, hey, these two usually show up together.
Okay, correlation.
Right. But it stops there. It doesn't really have the tools or maybe the language to definitively ask, did the fire cause the smoke?
Or does something else cause both?
Exactly. Or is there some hidden thing causing both?
Yeah.
That inability to pinpoint the driver, to move from just patterns to why it happens.
Yeah.
That's the blindness Pearl is talking about.
So statistics tells us what is.
Perfectly put. It spots patterns, crunches numbers, maps correlations like nobody's business. It could tell you, for instance, people carrying umbrellas are less likely to get wet. Obvious, right?
Yeah, seems obvious.
But statistically, just looking at the data, it couldn't definitively prove. Does carrying the umbrella cause you not to get wet? Or is it just that rain causes both umbrella carrying and getting wet if you don't have one?
Right, the hidden cause of the rain.
Exactly. And without a way to nail down that causal question, well, real science, effective policy, designing things that actually work, it gets incredibly hard.
Mm-hmm.
We basically lacked a language for counterfactuals. We were terrible at answering what would have happened if.
The what ifs.
The crucial what ifs. So Pearl's big, hairy goal really was to create a science of causation, a toolkit, both mathematical and practical, to answer what caused what? What happens if I intervene? What if I had done something else?
Okay, so transforming why from just a shrug.
Into a sharp scientific instrument, exactly.
That distinction, what is versus what if, that feels like a massive leap. So how do they propose we actually climb towards why? Is there like a map for this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most famous part of the book, the ladder of causation.
The ladder. Okay.
And it's not just a nice metaphor, it's a real framework for thinking about intelligence, ours, or AIs.
Mhm.
It has 3 rungs.
3 levels.
Yep. Each one representing a deeper level of causal understanding. So rung 1, seeing association.
Okay, see.
This is the bottom rung. It's where most of our data analysis, maybe even a lot of our everyday thinking, gets stuck. Just observing patterns, correlations, seeing smoke and fire together.
Like current AI, pattern recognition.
Exactly. That's its sweet spot. Rung 2, doing.
Doing.
So action, right. Actively changing something. Intervening to see what happens, like setting a fire deliberately to see if smoke appears.
Or giving a patient a drug in a trial.
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Randomized controlled trial, an RCT, that's operating firmly on rung 2. You're doing something to see the effect.
Okay, so seeing, doing, what's the top?
Rung 3, imagining, counterfactuals.
Imagining. The what ifs.
This is the highest rung, the most profound, where true intelligence, you could argue, really lives. It's asking, what if?
Okay.
Wondering, would there have been smoke if I hadn't set the fire? Or back to the medical example, would this specific patient have recovered anyway, even without the drug?
Wow.
This level lets us think about alternative realities, assign responsibility, understand regret, plan for futures that haven't happened. It's simulating worlds in our heads.
That highest rung, imagining. It sounds incredibly powerful, but also maybe a bit fuzzy. How do they make what if scientifically solid, not just, daydreaming?
Great question. That's where Pearl introduces something called do calculus.
Do calculus.
Okay.
Sounds a bit nerdy.
It does, but don't let the name scare you. Think of it less like complex math you have to learn from scratch, and more like a grammar.
A grammar for causation.
Sort of. A set of formal rules that lets us rigorously ask and actually answer what happens if I deliberately do this, even if you can't run the experiment.
Ah, so it's like a simulation tool based on logic.
Exactly. It's a cheat code for understanding the world, mathematically formalizing interventions. Asking, what happens if I push this button, becomes a calculation, not just a guess.
Okay.
And Pearl is blunt about this. If you can't imagine a world that's different, you'll never truly understand why anything happens, period.
That's a strong statement.
It is. And he argues this ability to imagine alternatives is what truly separates us from current machines. It's at the heart of every story, every regret, every invention.
Science meets poetry.
Yeah, you can say that. It makes what would have happened if scientifically addressable. And that changes everything about how we see responsibility, choice, you name it.
So with this new language, the latter, the do calculus, it feels like they're really challenging some old ways of thinking about science and data. What are some of the big myths they just demolish?
Oh, they definitely come at some old dogmas with a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe the biggest one, the one we hear all the time is correlation does not imply causation.
Right. We all know that one.
We do. But for decades, it's kind of acted like a stop sign. It made us cautious, maybe too cautious. Like true causation was this forbidden fruit we couldn't touch.
Okay. So what's Pearl's take?
His point isn't just to repeat the mantra. It's to say, yes, correlation isn't causation, B-U-T. That absolutely does not mean causation is unknowable or unreachable.
Ah, so it's not a dead end.
Not at all. He's saying, here are the tools, causal diagrams, do calculus. Now we can actually reach for it. We can sort out real causes from just coincidence. It flicks the script from defense to offense.
Okay, that is a huge shift. No more just shrugging it off. What other beliefs get challenged?
Well, another big one is the idea that randomized controlled trials, RCTs, are the only way to know cause.
The gold standard, right.
They are the gold standard when you can do them. But let's be real, the world is messy. Often RCTs are impractical, unethical, sometimes just plain impossible.
Like you can't make people smoke for science.
Exactly. So Pearl argues, look, RCTs are great, but causal inference gives us a powerful toolkit for observational data too. We can handle those tricky, confounding variables, the hidden factors, even without a perfect experiment.
So we're not helpless with real-world data.
Not at all. We can still make strong causal claims if we have the right models and are clear about our assumptions.
Okay.
What else? This one's huge today. The myth that all you need is data, or big data will solve everything.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. Just collect more data.
Right. The idea that secrets will just magically pop out if the data set is big enough.
Yeah.
Pearl says, firmly, no. Data is mute. It's silent without a causal model.
You need the why framework first.
Absolutely. You need to ask questions, frame hypotheses, build that causal structure before you let the data speak. The data tests your model. It doesn't create it from nothing. It's like having dictionary words, but no grammar. Useless for writing a story.
And that leads right into the AI question, doesn't it? The assumption that AI will just figure it out with enough data.
It does. And that's another crucial myth Pearl tackles. Machines can become intelligent just by recognizing patterns.
But isn't that what deep learning does?
It's brilliant at pattern recognition, yes. But Pearl argues that's not true intelligence. True intelligence needs to understand why. Current AI predicts it doesn't reason causally.
So it can spot a cat, but not know why the cat is chasing the mouse.
Exactly. Or why this word should follow that word in a meaningful sentence, beyond just statistical probability. Without causality, he argues, AI is stuck in kindergarten. It can't grasp responsibility or regret or explain its decisions meaningfully. It's a missing piece for human-level AI.
Wow. Okay, any other myths?
One more that seems technical but is important. Simpson's paradox is just a weird statistical quirk.
Ah, yeah, where the data flips depending on how you slice it.
Exactly. Like, a drug seems effective for men, effective for women, but somehow less effective overall when you combine them. It seems bizarre.
It does.
Pearl says it's not a glitch. It's a big red flag. It's screaming at you that your model is missing something important, a hidden causal factor, a confounder. It shows you when you're stuck on the seeing rung and need to climb higher to understand the why.
Okay, so these aren't just quirks, they're clues.
They're clues telling you to dig deeper into the causal structure.
It's clear this shift is profound for science. But let's bring it right into today. We're swimming in AI, drowning in data. Why is this book, this message, even more critical right now?
Because we are, as you said, drowning in data, but often starving for actual meaning. Pearl basically warns that without understanding causality, we're just, rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic.
Just spotting trends without knowing what drives them.
Exactly. And our biggest decisions, public health, climate change, social policy, they absolutely demand causal thinking. Knowing two things move together isn't nearly enough. We need to know if A causes B and how.
And for AI, you said it's prophetic.
Almost, yeah. His core message is crystal clear. As long as AI doesn't understand why, it can't truly think or create.
It predicts, but doesn't reason.
Right. So Pearl's work is arguably the missing piece for that next big leap in AI. Think about AI in medicine or justice or self-driving cars.
Yeah, high stakes.
Incredibly high stakes. Understanding causality is the difference between just following an algorithm blindly and actually understanding the consequences of its recommendations or actions. It's the difference between diagnosing and truly explaining.
And it feels like this framework is also vital for just navigating information overload, fighting misinformation.
Oh, hugely. Correlation gets weaponized constantly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In politics and media.
Crime went up after X policy, therefore X caused it.
It's exactly that kind of thing. Pearl's framework gives you, the listener, a shield. It's causal literacy to push back against lazy thinking or deliberate spin. It helps you ask, okay, but is that really the cause or just something happening alongside?
Right.
Plus, society's biggest debates are often counterfactuals, right?
Right.
What if we raised the minimum wage? What if those lockdowns hadn't happened?
Yeah, we argue about those constantly.
Pearl's ladder gives us tools to actually model those scenarios rather than just yelling opinions based on gut feelings. It allows for smarter, more informed debate and decisions.
You know, this really resonates because it feels like causality is embedded in everything creative, too. Like in songwriting.
How so?
Well, it's not enough to know which notes sound nice together, right? That's just correlation, like rung one.
Okay.
You have to understand why a certain melody makes you feel something, why changing that chord suddenly brings tears, why a lyric hits so hard. That's getting closer to the why.
That's a great analogy, the emotional cause and effect.
Yeah, and our lives are full of these interventions and counterfactuals. What if I hadn't sent that text? What if I took that job instead? Every story, every regret, every hope, it's like they're echoes from that ladder of causation.
It really provides a lens for understanding not just data, but experience itself. What is, what could have been, and maybe what could be.
So if we had to boil down the Book of Why into, say, 5 core takeaways, the absolute must-knows that Pearl and Mackenzie want us to internalize.
Okay, yeah, let's distill it. 5 key insights. Number 1, causality is climbable, not mystical. Forget the old correlation isn't causation stop sign. Pearl says you can and should ask why. Science now has the language, the tools. It's not forbidden territory anymore.
We can actually reach for it.
Exactly. 2, the ladder of causation is your new map. Those 3 rungs, seeing, doing, imagining, they aren't just theory, use them. It's a practical framework for thinking smarter, making decisions, even be more creative.
Okay, map the territory.
3, draw it out models, make meaning. Don't just rely on equations or spreadsheets. Causal diagrams, those simple arrows showing cause and effect, are crucial. They force you to be explicit about your assumptions, spot hidden problems. Always draw the causal story first.
Visualize the why. Got it.
4, counterfactuals aren't just for poets. That what-if question. It's not fluffy daydreaming. Pearl shows it's scientifically essential. It's the basis for understanding responsibility, regret, learning from mistakes, planning better, master the what-if.
It's core reasoning.
Absolutely. And finally, 5, true intelligence, human or machine, needs why. Big data and pattern matching alone won't cut it. To truly understand, explain, create, innovate, change things effectively, you and any future AI have to climb beyond the what and grasp the why.
That's the key to real understanding.
That's the essence of it.
Those are powerful takeaways. So, thinking about you, listening right now, navigating this world overflowing with information, often presented without any real causal context. What's the deeper message here?
The book seems to whisper this quiet dare, that the world isn't fixed.
Exactly that. Beneath all the science, all the diagrams, there's this really stubborn, deep optimism. Pearl's essentially nudging you, saying, look, You're not doomed to just repeat the past.
You're not stuck in the patterns you observe.
Right. The universe isn't some script you just have to memorize. It's a story, and you can actually help rewrite it. You can change the plot even if you didn't write the first scene. Every what if you entertain isn't frivolous, it's an invitation. An invitation maybe to heal or to create something new or to find empathy or just be bolder in questioning assumptions.
So curiosity is key.
It's your birthright. Don't let old thinking tell you some questions are off limits. And maybe the subtlest message, but so important, is how compassion connects to this.
Compassion. How so? Because asking what led you here, understanding the causal path someone took opens a door. It fosters understanding instead of just judgment. It builds a bridge, not a wall.
So the real kind of unheard message is, you're not just watching the movie.
You're not just a passive observer, no. You're a co-creator, a remixer, an asker of questions. Life isn't just happening to you.
It's something you can shape.
You can shape it.
Yep.
One why, one what if, one causal insight at a time. The biggest truths, maybe they aren't buried in massive data sets.
Maybe they're in the courage to wonder what could be different.
Precisely. The courage to climb that ladder.
So the next time you find yourself observing patterns, what will you dare to imagine could be different? Host, speaker, and expert speaker. Stay kind. Stay curious.